Welcome to another edition of the Bullheaded Podcast. I'm your host, as usual, Sean Tyson, here with Zoo and P. Bush. How you guys doing?
Doing great, man. Solid NFL games. Happened to win my DraftKings contest by 0.6 points because of that Rams interception to close out that game. Gave me the final two to put it over the top. So it was a great end of the weekend. Two good games on Sunday. And I don't know, man. I'm still a little iffy on the Bulls. I like to touch on them every opening, but it's been a little sketchy, man. A little sketchy.
The NFL, man, this has been historically great.
Unbelievable.
Historically mind-blowing. Historically great games, game-winning field goals. I can't believe the Chiefs lost, though, man.
I know.
I can't believe it. I am still blown away of being up 18 points. 18 points.
Unbelievable.
You were up 21-3, and you lost the game to a team that did not make the playoffs last year.
Mm-hmm.
A team that had 4 wins. A team that was bottom 5 at the start of the year, preseason odds. A second-year quarterback coming off a historic injury and losing in that fashion.
At home.
Chiefs Kingdom. Embarrassing, man. That's
one
all
of the toughest places to play.
And all I got to say was embarrassing. Embarrassing.
Yeah.
Cost me a parlay, man. Cost me a good 2 parlays, man.
Yeah, Zoo. I told you, man, you should have Bengals to cover at least, man. Bengals to cover at least. I thought it was.
They were down 21-3, dude. And that in the freaking touchdown before that, like if they score that touchdown before the half, I don't think the Bengals come back, dude. I just don't. I understand it, but yeah,
didn't happen though.
Yeah, it really didn't. Yeah,
it's tough.
Gotta stop betting, Zoo, man. It's the highs and lows, man. That's how they set you up. But yeah, we're gonna get into the playoffs a little bit later. Conference championship games. Those were again 2 great games. But obviously the story of the day is Tom Brady. He retired on his own merit. It was a little bit of a break. People trying to, I guess, be first and not be right with the breaking news over the weekend, and it kind of caused this huge stir. But he did it on his own terms today, and he called it a career. And I will note it's pretty awesome that he got to do it on his own terms, how he wanted to do it. But his last touchdown being that play he beat Jalen Ramsey is actually pretty cool. I didn't know. It didn't really register until I saw dang, that was actually his last passing touchdown. And it's there's no better way to go out than that because you burn one of the best corners in the league and it's to one of your favorite weapons. So I thought that was pretty cool. But we're just going to sit here and do, I guess, more of a reflection on Tom Brady's career. I'm going to ask the guys, it's pretty obvious where he ranks all time, but what you think of his career from New England to now. And P-Wish, I'm going to start with you, man.
It's tough to put into words, man. I know there's been a lot of stuff flying around today. All the ladies making fun of us for posting soppy stories about Tom Brady and, how he kind of revitalized our childhoods in the NFL and all that. But, man, he is the GOAT. I mean, Look, man, he played for 22 years. Pretty much as long as I've been able to remember sports, I remember Tom Brady. And that for me, I think is one of the weirdest things. He's pretty much older than the quarterback that is going to the Super Bowl and representing the conference that he was in with Joey B. Pretty much the same age as long as his career. It's ridiculous. But look, man, 7-time Super Bowl champ. He won 5 of those Super Bowl MVPs. I think the biggest thing for me, he had a career over 3 touchdown to interception ratio. And he had an over 76% completion percentage. That just epitomizes Tom Brady's game. People may have hated on him for all the dinks and dunks over the years, but you got to remember, he had some seasons where he was putting up 50 touchdowns before it was a thing with just Randy Moss bombing it downfield. He had days with Deion Branch. Hell, he even had Brandon Cooks there for a year. Gronk, obviously, a huge highlight to his career. But I think for me, if anything, I thought one of the coolest things I read was, he was the youngest QB to win a Super Bowl in his second year, and he was also the oldest quarterback ever to win a Super Bowl. So you want to talk about a perfect circle of a career. I think the epitome is Tom Brady. I think he probably might have the most perfect sports career if you were to take those 2 giant Super Bowls off of his career list. The other couple, the Nick Foles one was a great Super Bowl. But you could really only point to those 2, plus maybe his one injury where he tore his ACL as the only bleak moments, and that's pretty damn impressive in 22 years, man.
Yeah, what this guy has accomplished in his career, man, it is biblical how impressive it is, man. My Lord, and the way of ending it, he's not leaving. He's leaving in his prime. He never left his prime. He ended his career with 43 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. The guy, that is ridiculous. The dude's 44 years old, about to hit 45 years old, and it looks like he played for another 5 years, but he wanted to stay at home, be with Giselle, be with the kids, and that's why he's leaving. He's not leaving like when Jordan left with like the Washington Wizards.
Yeah.
Right.
Like that was washed MJ. Like this dude was the MVP conversation. He's probably going to finish top 2 in MVP conversation, and this dude's dropping bombs. Like his last throw too, beauty to Mike Evans. Like this dude could have done this for the next couple of years, but this guy wanted to leave on top. He left for obviously family reasons, not for performance reasons. Because this guy, ever since age 40 to age 44, that is a Hall of Fame career.
Yeah.
In his
just
40s.
In that year. Yep.
If he only played for 4 or 5 years, that's a Hall of Fame career, what this guy has pulled off. This guy has had 3 Hall of Fame careers, 20s, 30s, and 40s. That's what this guy has pulled off.
Damn,
in football.
Crazy.
It is wild. The TB12 method, I don't know if it's going to work for you, but it worked for this guy. Like the way this guy is done in a game of football where people get injured and pretty much like we saw Drew Brees looking like a shell of himself.
Mm-hmm.
Drew Brees looked awful. And this guy was an MVP guy. Big Ben, this guy was a Super Bowl champion. He looked awful. Eli Manning, I was begging for this guy to leave. He looked like a shell of himself. Tom Brady, my God, this guy's like Benjamin Buttons, man. He looks like he's aging in reverse. Like he looks better in his 40s than when he was in his 20s. If you guys seen the pictures of Tom Brady, this guy looks like he's aging in reverse. What this guy's pulled off, man. Like it is incredible what this guy has done. This guy found the fountain of youth. This guy may not have the measurable skills of like an Aaron Rodgers arm talent, but this guy has intangibles, and his leadership ability that is not measurable is incredible. In his second act of leaving the dynasty of the Patriots, he leaves the establishment, Bill Belichick and that coaching staff, Robert Kraft, that ownership group, goes to a new team and wins a Super Bowl champion against a quarterback that's trying to be an elite quarterback in Patrick Mahomes. He didn't be no washed quarterback. He beat Patrick Mahomes easily. Yeah. What this guy has done, mind-blowing. Even his last game, almost coming back 27-3, never gave up. His team steps up. This guy he's like King Midas, man. Everything he touches turns into gold. Like he turned that Buccaneers franchise around in 1 year, a COVID year. My Lord, man. Shout out to Tom Brady in his career because his intangibles is what makes him great.
Yeah.
Not his speed, not his arm talent, not his physical abilities. Like the only physical ability about him that's good is he's tall. That's pretty much it. Outside of that, this guy has defied the odds. I don't think he has any God-given athletic ability. He was just given height. He was given height. He had a decent arm. It was tall, and he was able to finish as the greatest quarterback of all time.
Yeah.
I think his
6th-round pick too. It's ridiculous, man.
Yeah. I think his mind is probably one of the biggest God-given talent he has. Absolutely. Because you got to also remember, like, when he came in with the Patriots at a very young age, I'm pretty sure, Bill saw something in him, even though I don't know if I would give the Patriots organization a lot of credit for drafting him in the 6th round because, I mean, you probably just take somebody at that point. I don't know how many people in their 6th or 7th round I'm going to give you too much credit for actually taking. But I will say that Bill saw something pretty early in him just from because like you say, to your point, Sue, he wasn't physically talented to where it's like, okay, we got to get this guy on the field. Like he was a guy that probably got the offense pretty well. Like he probably understood more, but how Bill being a defensive coach, he probably just put the reins on him a little bit and allowed him to go at his own pace. But, once he got unleashed in New England those next couple of years, like he became a quarterback who was a perennial, all-pro type of guy. And it's been proven once he got like a number one option, like a Randy Moss, and then when he got to Tampa and had all that talent, like the sky's the limit in terms of what he could have done. Yeah. Like imagine if in New England he would have had, to say how many years he spent in New England, if he just had 10 years of guys who were all-pro receivers or like 1 or 2 all-pro receivers, he'd probably have stats that like how Kareem has the all-points record, like LeBron is getting there. And the only reason why LeBron's getting there is because he's just playing as long. Like, I dare to say what, I think I had like on the Bullheaded podcast, the Instagram page, I had him having like 624 passing touchdowns. Like he
Mhm.
could easily probably be at like 700 if he had for half of his career all pro receivers. Because a lot of those guys he made names of. Listen, no disrespect to Gronk, of course, because he's a legit Hall of Fame tight end. But a lot of those other guys,
Julian Edelman, the
yeah,
Wes
all
Wes
those guys,
Welker.
Welkers,
yeah, those are
Danny
products of
Amendola.
yeah, Danny Amendola. Holy, I think he might still actually be in the league.
He is.
Actually, he
He
might
was in a
still be in the
playoff
league.
game. I forgot who he was playing for.
Yeah.
But go on,
And
Sean.
shout out to
Sorry.
Eric Weddle. Shout out to Eric Weddle. Do you see he was like sitting on his couch and then led the team in tackles? We'll be talking
Yeah.
about that later. But he's like
Little
37.
Kurt
That's crazy.
Warner in him, you know.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. But going back to Brady, just he made a lot of guys. He got them paid and he made them, famous. And it just speaks to his. Because for me, I'm not gonna lie. During his years with the Patriots, I just was not really the biggest Brady fan. Always respected him. Always thought he was a great quarterback. But when you start looping in the Spygate stuff and all that crap, it just kind of made me sour on them. But now looking back at it, it kind of looks more like a Patriots thing that was going on with that and not so much Brady. And then when you see him go and in his first year, regardless of the talent he had around him, he was able to win it in his first year. And he did it on the road. Didn't have any home games, went on all three, opponents' territories and won the games and then won the Super Bowl and he beat Mahomes. You kind of just, like you say, you got to give it up. And the one thing I'm gonna always remember about Brady is he did a really good job of having that, like, I'm just Tom Brady, 6th-round pick. It's just I'm happy to be here. But if you ever watch or listen to the mic'd up stuff, dude, he is probably one of the most competitive people.
Oh,
Like when he got into it with Tyrone Matthew last year, like that is the Brady that is so cool to me because he's won 6 rings and he's going for his 7th and he's ready to freaking choke out Tyrone Matthew on the field during the Super Bowl. So to me, it's like that's one of the coolest things I'm gonna remember about Brady. Like, people can say whatever you want about him being a 6th-round pick and whatever, but in his head, he's numero uno, and he's gonna let everybody hear it. And I know he's a quarterback and you can't hit him and stuff like that, but it still doesn't mean he's not gonna talk junk. And I think as he retires and players really get to talk about Brady, that's probably gonna be the number one thing they talk about is how much he talked crap. Like, I think they're gonna bring that up a lot because Brady just seems like the type of guy who wasn't gonna let you get stuff off over him. So, shout out to him. I hope he's able to transition into retirement gracefully because I know a lot of players, they struggle with it. He's got a lot of businesses and things like that, but nothing's like playing football. So hopefully he's able to do that gracefully and he's able to enjoy his life. And he, like you said, he went out on top. He did it how he wanted to do it. He did it in a sport that's as physical as football. He went out as about as good as you can get.
Mm-hmm.
Because
he took his hits early on, man. I saw that clip. I'm sure I forget exactly who hit him, but it was a famous clip. If you ever watched this biggest NFL hits, and I'm sure we all have at some point in our life.
Yeah.
There's that one where Brady just gets absolutely crunched running down the right sideline, and his helmet comes off, pops right back up, gets into the huddle. He might have been that might have been 04, 05 time period. He had his days where he was getting hit, and I think that he was the first person to really realize, not saying that he knew about CT and all that, but he knew if I want to have a long career, I have to change my play style and I have to just sit in this pocket. I have to trust my offensive line that they're going to, do their assignments. And I know that I'm more competitive than anybody else because I don't think you can argue that he is the most competitive guy in the NFL.
He really
has been now that he's technically out of it. He's got that Kobe, that Jordan mentality. And I think what we're going to start hearing, Sean, I thought you brought up a really good point, is it's kind of like what we hear about Larry Bird now, man. You hear the stories about what Larry Bird used to say to people back in the day. Nobody knew really that he was that much of a trash talker until those players, all that he had played against, started retiring and talking about it. And I can't wait for those stories, man. I can't wait. I hope he goes on the shop again soon or something. Now that he's retired.
Wow. That's gonna be a good sound bite for a lot of players. So shout out to Brady. Like you say, he's a GOAT. Can't really dispute that. I feel like now all the quarterbacks that are in the league, getting ready to come into the league or future, they're all fighting for second. I just don't ever envision in my lifetime a quarterback that's going to be able to get to 7 rings, go to 2 different franchises, and win at least one at a different franchise. So shout out to him, and hope he does well in retirement. Going forward, to the next topic of the championship games. It's been a lot of talk It's been a lot of talking. I'm just going to kind of dead this narrative now. I've been seeing it, not saying it's been coming from this account, but there's been a lot of comparisons with Joe Burrow and Tom already, especially after the performance he did against Kansas City. I want everybody to really, really calm their horses. I'll entertain it if a certain result happens in a couple of weeks, but we'll leave that for next week. But those games, I will say the NFL, for all its warts, these last 2 weekends have been probably some of the best football I've seen in years. And sure, they're just a playoff format. I would probably say out of both games, the Kansas City and Cincinnati game for me was the most exciting because that second half, as a Kansas City fan, you're probably sweating bullets and you're just like, what the hell's going on? But just from an overall game aspect, looking at how, Cincinnati was able to maneuver, that was something to watch. So I want to ask the guys, their thoughts on, this conference championship or this past conference championship weekend. And Zoo, I'm going to start with you.
Man, first half, virtuoso by the Kansas City Chiefs. So I was not surprised at all, man. When they were that offensive showcase, I was like, knew it. Ass whooping. But then, before the second half, that play calling at the end, I was like, what are they doing?
I don't know what that was.
They're getting too cute, man. I'm like, man, just settle down, kick the field goal, get the puntos, and move on to the second half. But then I look at Tyreek Hill, try to get a tutty. He gets tackled. I'm just like, man, that's going to hurt. This is the playoffs, man. You can't play around with points, man. Especially since, like, Cincy, they got a good defense. I don't know what happened in the first half. Like Tyreek Hill was getting one-on-one coverage. Like, that dude was just freaking unreal, man. He was unbelievable. Mahomes was making every pass. Like,
perfect
every
half.
pass. Dude, he had a perfect – he had like 158 QB rating. They had a perfect half of football. And I'm watching that second half, and I'm like, oh, my Lord, what is happening? I'm getting flashbacks of Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. That's what I had, man. The Kansas City Chiefs scored 3 points. 3 points.
That's so bad.
You have Travis Kelce. You have the fastest man alive in Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes. And you got 3 points against Cincinnati.
That's on Patrick.
Mahomes?
Yeah.
My Lord. Two interceptions. And this is a guy that does not throw many picks. And one of them in the fourth quarter should have been a pick 6. He got lucky. They dropped one. He was garbage.
Yeah.
In the playoffs.
Not even that. He
was awful. He was horrendous.
Yeah.
He was at home in the perfect situation to make it to the Super Bowl. He's not playing against Tom Brady. He's playing against a guy that was in LSU a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
LSU, this dude is a baby. This is his first full year of professional football. First full year of professional football. And he got weapons that are babies that were in college years back. Jamar Chase. T. Higgins. These are all young people.
Yeah.
And you blow that?
Yeah.
Embarrassing.
At home. That's the biggest thing.
That's an atrocity. Atrocity, man.
It was
It's
brutal.
not like the Bengals played perfect football.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they were awful in the first half, man.
Mixon couldn't get anything.
Dude, the running game was pretty much non-existent. Like the Cincinnati Bengals offensive line. Like, I don't know how Joe Burrow survived because this man was running for his life. Like, one underrated thing about Joe Burrow is that he's a tough guy.
Yeah.
He was able to break tackles against Chris Jones. He was able to avoid tackles and make plays, and I was just mind-blown of how aggressive this guy was and how tough Joe Burrow is. I knew Joe Burrow was like a good quarterback, good thrower of the football, pocket passer. But my God, he was making some moves in the pocket, man.
Looking like Josh Allen a little bit.
Yeah, John Owen avoiding tackles, hitting, making some clutch throws. I'm like, this is not happening again, man. Like, I remember when I say Cinderella stories don't happen, man. Oh, Joe Burrow's trying to prove me wrong. Because if they win the Super Bowl, Cinderella, man. Disney story got it. Ain't happening in real life right now.
That one, yeah.
Oh, that's a Disney miracle, man. This is a Disney miracle with Joe Burrow. They had 4 wins last year. This is incredible. If Joe Burrows could pull this off, my Lord.
That'd be one of the best stories in sports in a long time.
My goodness.
Mhm.
The
Absolutely.
Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah.
That tells you more about the league. Like when they say how they say the cliche, everybody's set up to go 8-8. Well, no. This is the perfect example of this league. If you get the right quarterback, you can make stuff happen in this league. It don't matter if you're just the Jacksonville Jaguars or you're the Detroit Lions. If Detroit gets Joe, we don't know what Detroit could have did if they had Joe Burrow. Like they could have been maybe in a spot where maybe they're not in the conference championship, but they could be in the playoffs. It's all about that quarterback, dog. This league is set up. If you get it, if you're competent in your front office, you can go places.
If Joe Burrow had gone to Detroit, man, Amon-Ra St. Brown probably would have had a Cooper Cup
Yeah,
type
for
season.
real.
Goddamn.
Amon-Ra St. that dude's unbelievable.
Yeah,
man.
he's good.
Even with Jared Goff and whoever the backup is, that dude went
Swift, they got
off,
Swift
man.
too.
Yeah,
Swift, Jamal Williams, two-headed monster in the backfield. Like, yeah, they
Hawk.
could have.
Yeah.
No,
Look, man, I think Tazua, you made a great point. I thought that it was a tale of halves, but I thought it was, the Bengals offense was pretty good. I don't think it was anything special. I think you could also echo something similar for the Rams and how they performed in the NFC Championship game. But for me, man, this was about the halftime adjustments that the Bengals defense made to contain Tyreek Hill, not allow him to get one catch. You allow Travis Kelce because Travis is always going to get those 9-yard dink and dunks.
Dink and dunks.
Set up those 2nd and 1s, right? Get you a first down. You can't stop both of them. And they decided that what they needed to do was just take Tyreek out of the game, contain Kelce, and keep them out of the red zone. But the biggest play, man, was clearly they had I think it was 1st and goal when it was 24-21 Bengals. On the 9-yard line, I want to say the Chiefs had it, and the Bengals come up with 2 sacks, nearly force a game-winning fumble on Mahomes. Yeah. Man, that lineman, even though the Chiefs lost in the end, the guy that fell on that ball needs. If they ended up winning the game, he was getting the game ball because Mahomes almost choked that, didn't even give his team a chance in overtime, and the Chiefs almost pulled it off again. Man, they won another damn coin toss in overtime. Mm-hmm. They get the ball. And Mahomes goes 3 and out and throws a pick, man. Are you serious?
Like he just threw it up to be thrown.
It was desperation.
I don't know what that was. Like.
You know what it was? He slowly had a Matt Ryan moment, man. That's what he had. He had a, oh my God, I can't believe we actually, he's thinking, if I don't make this throw, he doesn't catch this, it's over.
That's
that's respect to Joe Burrow. Yeah, exactly. You got Mahomes flustered without even having to be on the damn field. So, I'm happy to see something new. I think more than anything, I just like seeing a new team in it. I think this is probably one of the best Super Bowl runs, and hopefully it ends up becoming successful. But I think it's the closest thing we've had to when Eli took the Giants to the Super Bowl as kind of a wild card team. I know the Bengals did win the division, but their record wasn't much different than what the Giants had back in the day at 9-7. Yeah. Knocking off the top team in their respective. Obviously, the Giants did that in the Super Bowl. The Bengals got to do it in their championship game, but now we get to see him play the Rams. So, Zoo, what'd you think about that one, man? That one was a kind of an ugly game there for a bit.
Yeah, 49ers, man. That team just makes games ugly, man. Their defense is incredible. Mm-hmm. Their pass rush is incredible. Like I didn't even think Matthew Stafford particularly had a good game. I thought he was okay. He had one crucial play that should have been a pick.
He was good in the fourth
quarter. If you guys remember that deep pass that Matthew Stafford just chucked it up there. The dude dropped the interception. I was rooting for 49ers. He dropped the interception. I'm just like, wow, that's going to cost him the game. Because when you're giving golden opportunities like that to create turnovers in a game, they were struggling to get up midfield. Like the Rams are just like, man, we're lucky to get 3 points right now. Because, it is hard to score on this 49ers team. You dropped that, and that was the game right there. Because Jim, there's not –
he had his chance.
You had your opportunity to get a turnover. Matthew Stafford is prone to throw picks. Jimmy Garoppolo leading a team down. He's not a guy. He's a game manager, man. You cannot –
He had a chance to prove himself, though. Once again.
Yeah, we all know what Jimmy Garoppolo is. He's a role player. He's a role player quarterback. Maybe your defense could get you enough stops, put you in position, maybe get you up for a field goal for a win, but you ain't gonna ask this guy to throw 4 times in a row, 2-minute drill, try to get some points on the board. Nah, that's not Jimmy G's game, and that might be why that he might be gone after this year.
Yeah, I think he's gone. He's definitely gone after this year.
My, the Los Angeles Rams, man, they went all in. They traded all their first round picks, man.
Mm-hmm.
2024 is like their next year of having a first round pick.
Yep.
Or 2024, 2026. My Lord, they went all in. Good for them. I love when teams think that. You got to put all your chips in the middle to try to win a Super Bowl. You can't half-ass it. You can't be like, I want to think about the future and I'm trying to win a championship. That's what the 49ers did, man. They drafted Trey Lance. They gave up future draft compensation, and they're like, we get our quarterback maybe for the future, man. Jimmy G's not the dude. Maybe if you use that draft capital and draft a useful player, maybe you beat the Rams. They didn't go for it. They
Maybe
thought of the future.
corner.
Yeah, exactly. They
Stop Cooper.
They thought of the future instead of the present, and you got exactly what you deserve. You didn't go all in this year. The Los Angeles dude. And you know my love of Sean McVay, man. I love that guy as a head coach. This guy, game plan, he does it all, man. Like Matthew Stafford, like I think he's a good quarterback. People are like, oh, Matthew Stafford. Like Jared Goff also made it the Super Bowl. Like,
he's got to win it to
make it like win. He got to win the Super Bowl, and he got to be the reason. It can't be that defense that's like finally meshing together. And the guy got Cooper Kupp, Odell Beckham, who's looking like ODB again. Not the Cleveland Browns Odell Beckham, who's dropping passes and being a bum in Cleveland. This guy's dropping 100-yard games in the playoffs right now. And like, my God, Cooper Kupp.
MVP, man. He should.
How is this dude so productive every single game?
Look,
he's just always open.
He's always open.
So my point is that a testament to Stafford, or is that a testament to Cooper Kupp's ability? Because everyone says the wide receiver can't win because the quarterback is, but as long as your quarterback can hit open receivers, he's getting open by himself every single time. He catches 11 balls, puts up 140, scores their only 2 offensive touchdowns. I honestly pissed at myself for pulling my Cooper Kupp MVP bet out because I think his odds would have shot up. It's obviously a regular season award, but I think you are seeing what the value that he brings. To your point, Zoo, maybe the Niners should have drafted a corner, man. Maybe it could have done something to stop at least one of those 2 guys because that's the only reason they won, especially with Higbee out with that MCL sprain.
Yeah.
And that is, I think, one of the bigger things. That and also Aaron Donald really hasn't done too much in this playoffs. I mean, he did have a huge final drive.
I think he is against the Bengals. Game. We'll talk about that next week. But that offensive line,
exactly,
he might get busy. He might win an MVP. He might be the first. I don't know if the D tackles ever won an MVP, but he might get busy against the Bengals line.
And that's what I was going to say. But we'll see. We'll talk about that game next week, obviously. But I particularly wasn't that impressed with the Rams' performance. I thought that it was just pretty mediocre across the board. I do think the defense obviously made some good adjustments. But this was all the story of Jimmy G, man. I mean, look, they were up 17-7, similar to Mahomes. He saw that lead dwindle. And he kind of panicked. He's, and we really have only seen him panic like that because he's honestly a pretty poised guy in the pocket. He can actually, kind of stand. He doesn't usually have to run out too much. But the 2 games we've seen him choke now are in a Super Bowl against the Chiefs and now in an NFC Championship against the Rams. Those are the games that you need your guy. If you're going to sign him to a $100 million contract or draft him in the top 5 or hell, even the top 10, you need them to be able to bring home those games. And we're seeing, to Zoo's point, pretty much Blake Griffin rookie, if you want to call him, and Joe Burrow doing that for his team. So we're seeing a rise and fall of 2 quarterbacks in their respective positions right there.
You think Burrow? I think Burrow to me is also really interesting because he doesn't overwhelm me as a when you look at a Herbert or an Allen just in terms of arm talent and explosiveness, maybe running the ball. He just seems like a regular quarterback. But to Zoo's point, I think he made a little bit earlier, he's so slippery in the pocket. You just can't really get a firm grasp on him to get him down for a tackle for loss or a sack. He just is always moving around, and I think that I guess you call it functional athleticism, where you're able to move around the pocket and escape and do all that. It makes him better. And one thing too, he's always looking downfield. Even when he's you can tell, if you just look at certain quarterbacks, when they're getting the pocket is closing down and they start looking at the pocket and they're just putting 2 hands on the ball and trying to run around, he's always still looking down, even though there's chaos going on him. So I think that's what makes Burrow super special because, like you say, a lot of that turns into a scramble drill. And if you just keep your head down the field, you're going to find somebody open because
especially with those weapons.
Yeah,
they're
going to get open. Chase is going to get open. And I think I said this last week about Chase. I think what really makes him special is he hardly ever goes down when he gets hit. He's always like a bowling ball.
Yep.
He'll get hit, and the first tackler never pulls him down. And usually after that, if the next guy is not close, he's able to break away because then he like turns into. He kind of reminds me of like a smaller Debo. He doesn't get lined up in the backfield, but he's really tough after the catch. Like Debo doesn't never gets taken down on the first tackle either.
He's
Ever.
great balance.
First contact, yeah. And he's kind of got that short. Chase is like maybe 6'1", 210. Debo's like 6 foot, 215, 220. Like he kind of got that short, compact build. That's another matchup. Chase and Ramsey is going to be really interesting to watch next week, or not next week, but whenever the Super Bowl is. Like I can't wait to see that because I think Chase is going to be a guy that is not intimidated by the moment at all. So, but yeah, the more interesting game for me was Cincinnati, pulling it out against the Chiefs because, the Rams and 49ers, the reason why I kind of went with the Rams because it's just they've beaten them 6 times or 5 times before that. It's at some point the Rams are due. So, like, you just kind of knew they were going to somehow pull it out. And part of that's because Jimmy G just didn't do what he was supposed to do. And I still don't think whatever they traded to get Trey Lance would have helped them beat the Rams. I don't. Because I think Trey next year, if Trey comes out, even if he doesn't get them to where Jimmy got him to, if he shows he can get them to the playoffs, still that pick will be justified. So, and honestly, he probably would have been playing this year if he didn't get hurt. He messed up his thumb.
I don't know, man. As a thrower of a football, he did not look that confident this year. He is lacking confidence.
Who would you take, him or Love?
Trey.
Yeah.
My thoughts about Jordan Love, man. He looks like
Jordan Love.
Jordan Love might be pushed to duty soon if Aaron has a situation come up in Green Bay. Tell you what. And they made a really good point about like I said, I was talking with people earlier in the pre-production about just Green Bay as a whole, and I think Colin Cowherd kind of brought up a point that RG3 brought it up on his podcast saying like, and I might have brought this point up maybe a pod ago or 2 pods ago, but like how Green Bay is not a destination for free agents, and how their ownership group is. If you look at all these stars, like look at the Super Bowl, it's all these guys are, and Robert Woods is hurt, but like all these teams have 3 to 4 legit options. Like Green Bay has 1. And it's like if you're Aaron Rodgers, is like hypothetically, not saying he's, he choked it up, but if he's in Denver, is he choking it up with 3 legit receivers or 2 legit receivers? Like he's probably not. Because that's the name of the game. You got to have weapons. Look at Brady.
Stop
it last year.
Davante Adams and Aaron Jones,
It don't matter, dude.
Davante Adams and Aaron Jones and that offensive line.
Look at the Bengals.
Stop it. Aaron Rodgers need to step the fuck up, man. You don't need more weapons,
I agree,
man.
It's a good point. Look at the Bengals. Just name me the Bengals' weapons. He's 3 receivers deep. And Joe Mixon.
Yep.
Joe Mixon or Aaron Jones. It's a wash. Aaron Jones ain't way better than Joe Mixon.
Especially not this year.
Who has the better offensive line, man? You want that Cincy or the Packers?
Was hurt.
Aaron Rodgers got all day to throw the football.
Bakhtiari was hurt. That was his best left tackle.
Don't matter. Dude, the offensive line did not fail Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs.
I agree with you.
I want that offensive lines and those weapons over the Cincinnati Bengals offensive line.
I would take the Bengals weapons all freaking day.
And the offensive line?
Day.
That offensive line?
Yeah, I would.
Stop.
Because they're in the Super Bowl. And look at the Rams.
And look what they had to go through.
Like, I'm not making excuses. Please don't say I'm making excuses for Aaron Rodgers because I'm really
Aaron Rodgers is
pathetic,
pathetic, man. Like, he's pathetic.
They can't bring free agents to
It
Green Bay.
doesn't matter, man. You're Aaron Rodgers. You're a Mount Rushmore quarterback. You gotta get it done against Jimmy Garoppolo and scoring 10 points. It's not like the 49ers dropped the 40-piece. They dropped 13 points.
I agree with that game in particular, but I'm speaking more to a bigger point. I'm
talking about this season. Off the bye. 49ers played the week before against the Dallas Cowboys.
He makes the Super Bowl. He makes the Super Bowl with the Denver Broncos.
I think Aaron Rodgers is just allergic in the playoffs, man. He's allergic from prosperity in the playoffs, man.
No, I think he loses if that weather is different, low key. I'm not kidding. I think if it doesn't start snowing, he's able to just continue throwing the ball deeper down the field, and he could get an MVS or an Allen Lazard going differently. So I do agree with Zoo. I think the offensive line is easily the biggest thing.
Great.
I think Yeah, and they did
Packers
well.
all-line was great. He had all
I
these.
think I'm going to be. I think
Especially
if,
against the Niners. But I will say that I think
did gag that game,
only having one, and you do
true.
have the stud, but you have one of the best, which means they're always going to double team him. And that means you have to take your best back out of the backfield, put him in the slot, which is where he's still a stud, but it's not at his best ability. You no longer have the Aaron Jones threat to run.
It doesn't matter. You got two-headed monster. AJ Dillon is a legit running back.
Oh my God!
AJ Dillon's a great running back, man. If he was a 3-down back, man, he'll be putting up 1,000 yards. Easy.
What was he doing in fantasy? Tell me how good of a back he was.
He was great in fantasy when he played, man. AJ Dillon got dope. What are you talking about?
I'm just saying
he had the weapon.
We agreed Aaron Rodgers was awful in that game. I'm not taking that away. I'm just saying if you look at these receivers, like it is these teams that are making it to the Super Bowls and winning, they're loaded. They're loaded at like
the 49ers are loaded on all
with weapons. But yes, with weapons, they have arguably better overall weapons than the Packers do. They have Debo, George Kittle, Eli Mitchell, and Brandon Ayuk's no scrub either. So I mean, he's a legit number.
I didn't even think about George Kittle.
That's 4.
No, you got to decrease those guys because you got Jimmy Garoppolo.
They have the best offensive line in the league, so you can watch
Trent
that.
Williams, number 1 offensive tackle.
Hell, dude, Aaron Rodgers should bite the bullet and go to San Fran. Go back to the place that
I think he should go somewhere with. I think if he has 2 or 3 legit receivers, he's winning a Super Bowl. I book it.
Yeah.
If he was with Denver, he would win it.
He did. That is
defense and 2
Jerry
Jeudy and
his mental toughness, man. I love his talent. My Lord, embarrassing.
Listen,
how do you lose the 49ers, man?
I agree with that.
How do you score 10 points, man?
We're gonna see if Aaron Rodgers ends up leaving. What does Green Bay do when he leaves? Because if they don't make it to the playoffs, then you're making my point. Is Aaron Rodgers or bust? You're making my point.
Yeah.
My point is Jordan Love. That's why. It's because of Jordan Love's the backup. They don't have he's not a starting quarterback. Jordan Love, if he starts in NFL next year, he is probably the worst starting quarterback in the NFL.
There's only about 5 teams.
Worst?
Yeah. Name me a quarterback you would want over Jordan Love next year if Jordan Love is starting. Starting quarterback.
I wouldn't want Zach Wilson over him, and I was in a Zach Wilson fan club.
That's fair.
I wouldn't want him.
No, but like at the same time,
anybody Pittsburgh. I don't know who
only
Pittsburgh's
about
going to start.
5 teams that are like, wow, we have a quarterback locked for a decade. That's rare. That's very rare to find a quarterback that you can say, hey, we got him locked, and we know, unless barring a huge injury, a decade guaranteed. Chiefs found theirs. They locked him up with that actual contract, which I still think is ridiculous. They gave him a 10-year contract. The fact that the Packers were able to benefit from that for 25 years is ridiculous. Yeah. You're bound to going to have a situation of at least a 4-year rookie contract where you're going to have a shitty young quarterback that maybe could end up turning into something, because I don't think everybody thought Aaron Rodgers was going to be to the level that he was, except maybe himself and maybe Brett Favre. So, it's the ups and downs of the NFL, man. I think, if you're looking at the most ideal spot for anybody, I think you do have to look at either no one knows what's happening up in Seattle with the whole Russell situation, but I think Pittsburgh has the most viable weaponry to offer any quarterback. They have 3 legitimate wide receivers. They have one of the best young running backs in the league, and they have a solid offensive line with a damn good defense. So if I'm Rodgers, I'm considering it, man. I'm considering it.
I'm getting out of Green Bay because I want everybody, like I say, nobody wants to make excuses because, like you say, he has came up short a lot, but
in the playoffs,
needs to get out of Green Bay because
regular season Rodgers and playoff Rodgers, there is a regression in the playoffs for some reason.
Just like
same team, same weapons, same coaching staff, same offense. In the playoffs, he doesn't maintain the same level of performance. He doesn't he doesn't. No, sometimes I just want him to maintain because he was an MVP caliber of the regular season. Like he pulled off some miracles. Without all his weapons against the Arizona Cardinals, without Devontae Adams, without any real receivers, that dude played incredible with no weapons without Devontae Adams. No Allen Lazard. He beat a good Cardinals defense. And then he played in the playoffs. He came and won the damn football game.
I think
the bye screwed him. Bye screwed him too. 49ers, you could argue the Niners were the hottest team. Maybe, obviously, the Bengals have continued their hot streak and the Niners haven't. But going into that game, the Niners were the hottest team in the league. They just pretty much swept their division opponent, who ended up beating him last week, obviously. And they had a bunch of confidence going into that game, whereas the Packers, who thought they were going to be getting their starting left tackle back, ends up, oh, actually, we're not. Oh, and then here's all this bad weather. It was just a bad game. Rodgers had one of his
They
bum
lost to a team that did not score an offensive or defensive touchdown. How does that happen?
Huh?
How is that possible? I lost to a team that the quarterback had no passing touchdowns and the running back had no rushing touchdowns.
Welcome to how the Bears made the
did not get a pick six. I don't even know how that's possible, man. I don't even know how that's possible.
But it's like you're making my point because it's like you talk about Aaron Jones and Devontae Adams. Where the hell were they?
They both
they were catching every freaking ball that was going towards them, man.
To my point, if they had another receiver, maybe they don't have to lead.
Or maybe if Aaron Rodgers spread out the wealth to Alan Lazard and other people.
Who the hell is Alan Lazard, Zoo?
Alan Lazard's a good wide receiver. He was wide open someplace.
Aaron Rodgers. It's not because he's a great receiver. Stop.
True. I agree.
I keep saying this, and people kill me. I'm getting killed in my group chat actually last week. I said if Devontae's not with Aaron, he's not the number one receiver.
I agree.
Because what about him is super explosive? What about if Devontae is so explosive? Like he's good off the line, but he ain't beating nobody down the field and making like a DK Metcalf or Debo. He ain't doing that.
He ain't running routes
like
Aaron
Cooper. Rodgers. No, like he ain't Cooper. It's Aaron Rodgers is making these guys. That's why I'm saying if Aaron Rodgers leaves next year, if Green Bay goes 4-12, that's making my point.
Yeah,
because they're not like Green Bay.
He's the most talented quarterback ever.
Yeah,
talented.
Not saying he's Brady, but I'm just saying like Devontae he should be thinking. Why do you think Devontae was been hitting that like? Well, if Aaron doesn't come back, I may not sign my extension because he knows what's up. And I love Devontae, but he knows what's up. I need Aaron Rodgers. Like, how good would Devontae Adams be with Jimmy Garoppolo? He wouldn't be an All-Pro. He would not be an All-Pro.
Debo had to move to running back pretty much to become an All-Pro. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. The Packers are rough. They're in a tough. I think they have the toughest spot of any team right now. Obviously, Bucks are in a bit of a oh crap. We don't have Brady anymore. What are we doing?
Yeah.
But I think the Packers having the unknown is just what messes with them every single offseason. They don't know, therefore, how to draft in April. If they don't know what's going to happen in July,
they can't get any free agents. They got to rely on a draft.
Rodgers is playing with them.
They're going to be in for a rude awakening if he leaves next year.
Yeah,
that whole title town moniker.
Watch him. That's right. You see that GM Bears? He said we're going to take the North and we ain't giving it back.
Story today. I posted that. I was like, Justin feels it in already. I'm telling you, if Aaron leaves, I'll put stock in the Bears. I definitely will.
I might finally win a bet, Zoo. It's been about 10 years running, man.
Because you talk about Detroit.
Oh my!
Listen, if Harbaugh goes to, and I know we got to wrap this, but if Harbaugh goes to Minnesota, come on, man, that division is wide open.
It's
because Kirk Cousins, like you say, he's not an awful quarterback, but I'm not hitching my wagon to him.
He's a step above Jimmy G.
He's a step above. Yeah, he's like a.
I think him and Jimmy G are similar. Same tier.
Yeah, but Kirk puts up numbers, man.
Yeah, he leads, but he also has.
He has Justin Jefferson, Alvin Cook, Adam Thielen, good.
And even the backup Madison's real good.
They got a great team. Good offensive weapons.
So we're gonna see. Like I say, next week's gonna be the whole discussion with the Super Bowl. We just kind of want to talk about the conference championships. We will, in the coming weeks, start talking a little bit more basketball because after the Super Bowl, there's not going to be any football except for stuff about the draft, and we will be getting into all of that. But we will be talking as the NBA season gets to the trade deadline and midway point and the All-Stars and all that stuff. And before we go, I got to give a shout out to Andrew Wiggins. Did not see that coming with him making the All-Star team. Did not see that coming.
You know how Andrew Wiggins got an All-Star starting job? Because some K-pop guy shouted out Andrew Wiggins, and then boom, he got all the votes, man. Golden State media team, man, geniuses. They performed the miracle of getting Andrew Wiggins.
That's what happens when your team is in Silicon Valley, man. That's what happens. You get all the tech on your side, man.
I don't think any of us had him.
I don't even have him on the bench of my All-Star team.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Andrew Wiggins ain't no All-Star. Yeah. He ain't no All-Star.
No. He's played really good this year, but not an All-Star. No.
18 points and 3 rebounds, an All-Star starter. That's disrespectful to the All-Star team. Yeah, then he put up Luol numbers when the brothers starting in the NBA All-Star.
Yeah, man.
They need to add something to. They need to do something with voting.
But
That's all I
to
have
keep
to
it
say.
real, the West this year, Loki's been ravaged by injuries at the forward position.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't even think of a small forward to start. Like, I'm picking centers to start in the All-Star game instead of
I can't
like
think of a
Andrew
forward either,
Wiggins.
dude.
I couldn't even think of a small forward.
Yeah, me
Yep.
either.
I'm not even one. Paul
Like
George
Paul
injured,
George,
Kawhi Leonard injured,
Injury.
everybody injured. Like, nobody.
I mean, I don't even know what the guy
outside of LeBron James, who's a small forward that could.
Lou
an
Dort.
all-star? Oh my lord!
What's the dude from the Suns? The
Mikal
really tall.
Bridges?
That's the only one I can think of.
He's our
I
sixth
don't even know
man.
what his stats are.
He ain't an all-star. He's
Yeah.
he's a nice.
I just said that because
Role
they're
play.
winning.
He's a nice
Utah.
role player.
Listen, we could have Joe Ingles, but now he tore his ACL. So
I can't think of a single small forward. Like, it's like freaking down to like Desmond Bain.
yes.
Hey, he could win Most Improved, man. You better watch out.
Yeah, the West forward situation is pretty dire.
Brandon
Yeah.
Ingram. That's like the only guy I could think he actually
And
puts
his
up
team
all-star
is
number. His team's garbage.
So bad.
But that's the only guy I could think of putting up all-star numbers. Brandon Ingram. That's it.
Yeah, that's tough sledding. But I just wanted to bring that up because I just thought it was funny when I saw that. I was like, how
Anthony
is it
Edwards?
that like nobody?
Anthony Edwards is special.
Yeah, he could maybe get an alternate spot, maybe.
That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, I think he deserves it. And what he's done this year, incredible. They're a 500 ball club right now.
They need to trade D'Lo and get like another piece
I agree.
to make him he'll really blossom then. And it's no shade to D'Lo because I think D'Lo can still be productive and effective in this league. But for him to really get to the next level, I think getting rid of D'Lo and maybe getting another point guard or true point guard with Anthony Edwards, man, yeah, Minnesota might have some hope, and that might keep Karl Anthony Towns in Minnesota so they can actually build to be good. So. Like I said, we'll be talking more NBA in the next coming couple of weeks, but next week will be pretty much full Super Bowl. Just the reaction from all that and the fallout from Media Day and things like that. So make sure you guys tune in to Bullheaded_pod for all the latest content. Like you say, we're on all the platforms: Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, Google Podcasts. Make sure you follow the Twitter page too, Bullheaded_pod, TikTok, same thing, Bullheaded_864. And for me, Zoo and P. Bush, we're out.